Welcome back, friends, to A Garden and a Bible Farm. My name is Adeola for those who are just meeting me for the first time. If this is your first time, please make yourself comfortable, join the family, hit the subscribe button, as well as at the end of this video, comment what you are growing in your garden this year. So a couple of videos ago, I shared with you how to grow pepper plants. And I told you that peppers were the most abundant fruit that grew on my farm last year. I attribute that to many different factors, but one of them that I'm going to share with you today is why I strongly believe my pepper plants grew in abundance. So when you're growing peppers typically get to about 4 feet tall, probably max. And they're not very tall like tomatoes. Tomatoes can keep growing, but peppers don't grow that tall. And when peppers are typically growing, you will find that a pepper plant has a leader stem that is going to keep growing upward. Now, when you look at that leader stem, especially when they are seedlings, and I'm going to show you some images in this video as I'm speaking. Now, out of the seedlings, you will find small little leaves that are also trying to come out. However, because the leader stem is already growing and it's getting tall, growing to its maximum height, what happens now is that it's not going to allow those other leaves to come out, which will eventually become stems and then will eventually be able to produce fruit for you. So typically that would not happen if we don't do what I'm about to share with you today. You know, and I should have done this a long time ago, but for the sake of a video, I'm going to show you exactly what that means. I have about, I think, close to 90 peppers because I started some more than 90 actually. Let's just say about 100 peppers. This is what a pepper plant looks like, or a seedling. You call this a seedling because it's still very small, as opposed to what it's going to be doing and producing its fruit. Now, when I look at the stem of this particular pepper plant, if I get close, and I hope you can see this in this video, I will also show you some images where you can see this better. But in this armpit, let's just call this the armpit, because for those of us that grow tomatoes, we know that we have something called a sucker, which typically grows in the armpit of the stem of a tomato. So it's simply the same thing. So you have here the armpit of the pepper plant. Now in this armpit, if you look very closely, you will see that there is a leaf that is trying to grow out. But because the leader is growing, that leaf will never come out. And the reason being is because the plant is trying to focus its energy on a vertical growth. But you don't want that. You heard me correctly. You don't want that. You want there to be more of a lateral growth as opposed to a vertical growth. You want your peppers to grow more bushier as opposed to getting taller. So if we don't do what I'm about to do, which we call topping off, then you are typically not going to get this very bushy plant. Now, last year I grew almost 90 pepper plants in ground. One of the reasons why I was able to get the abundant fruit that I got from my pepper plants, all of them, was because I did this process called topping off. Topping off does not have, there's no like set in stone time that you need to do it. But what you want to look for are at least 3 sets of true leaves. So what are true leaves? You know, when the pepper plant starts to grow, there are going to be some leaves that come out. Those leaves are not true leaves. Those are the cotyledon leaves that are going to come out of the plant, and those are just the starter leaves. Now, after those leaves, we call those the first set of true leaves, then the second set, then the third set, and it keeps growing and it becomes bushy. So what you're going to look for on your pepper seedling is at least 3 sets of true leaves. So this right here is one, this set is another one, and this set at the top is another one. So as painful as it is, trust me, when I did this the first time, I did not want to do it. I was very skeptical, but then I thought to myself, what could ever happen? The worst that could happen is that I wouldn't get much of anything. And then if I see that it's not really growing, then I would just restart them and just hopefully extend it into a later part of the season. But I had an overwhelming abundance of peppers. So what you're going to do is that third set of true leaves is where you want to snip off. When you do that, you will see in the armpit right underneath of where you snipped off. Hopefully you guys are able to see this. Let me see if I can focus it so you can see it better. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. So this leaf right here will eventually come out. And when that leaf comes out, what it does now is that it's going to branch out laterally and allow for your pepper plants to grow those new stems. And then in turn, you're going to have more fruit, an abundance of fruit. If you don't want to do this, of course you don't have to do it, but it's something that is, I think, worth your while. You don't have to do it to all your pepper plants. I would strongly suggest actually that if you have an enormous amount of plants that you're growing and you can spare one or two, just try it out and see how it works well for you. Now, some people will tell you that you shouldn't do it on certain peppers and you should only do it on a certain type of peppers. Let me tell you guys, I did it on all of my peppers. The sweet peppers, the hot peppers, the regular peppers, the ones that are going to grow red, the ones that are going to grow green, the ones that are going to be yellow, the ones that are going to be multicolored. I did them on all of my pepper plants, and all of them did exactly the same. Every single pepper plant, my ghost peppers, my cayenne peppers, my lemon hots, my bell peppers, habanero, I had poinsettia plants, pepper plants, they all thrived last year. In fact, we are still eating and consuming the peppers that I grew last season. In fact, I made a great dish last night using some of my peppers from last year. So if you want to have the same outcome where you have an abundance of peppers, then I strongly suggest that you just top your peppers, and you will see that eventually you will begin to have some side lateral growth from the pepper plants. Another thing I want to share with you is if your peppers are beginning to fruit inside, meaning you're starting to see some blossoms, and the blossoms will look like a flower, and out of the flower is where the fruit will come. If you're beginning to see that, I strongly encourage you to pick that off. You don't want your pepper plant at this stage, while it's still here, when it's still inside, to begin to produce fruit, because what happens now is that it's going to stunt the pepper plant, and you don't want that. You want the plant to be thriving when it's in the garden. So anytime you see blossoms on your pepper plants, just pick off the blossom, and if it is a fruit, pick off the fruit and consume the fruit. The fruit is definitely good for you to consume. You just don't want your plant to begin to put energy into doing so. Just like you and I need energy, our plants need energy, and our energy can only be going into one direction. I cannot be both walking and running at the same time, right? So it's the same thing with our plants. Your pepper plant cannot begin to fruit as well as give you a vertical or a lateral growth. You want the lateral growth first. You want it to put out the branches first, then those branches will eventually begin to produce their flowers, and then out of the flowers you will eventually get the fruit. So I hope this tip helps you out. I'm going to show you how I'm going to top my pepper plants. Trust me, I have a whole bunch inside of the house. I'm just showing you one flat here that have these peppers in these solo cups so that you guys can get a feel of what it is that I'm doing. I'm going to bring you in closer and then just show you exactly what I want you to do. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. I'm also going to link the blog post that I wrote that will also explain this in words, and then you can go back and look at that. There are going to be pictures attached to the blog post, so you're more than welcome to go and use that so that you are able to get the feel of how to top your peppers and do it correctly. Remember, you're looking for at least 3 sets of true leaves. You want to make sure that there is growth in the plant. Once you see that third set of true leaves, you can snip it off right there. That third set and anything above it, you can snip it off, so leaving you with just at least 2 sets of true leaves. And what you're going to see afterwards is that the lateral growth will begin. And I also encourage you that once you top your pepper plants, feed the plants with a very good organic fertilizer. Please do not overdo it. You don't want to burn the plant. Whatever the box or the container or the jug says to do in 1 gallon or 2 gallons of water, I strongly suggest that you half it and then probably half that again. You don't want to overfeed your plants. Our plants are very resilient, but once you give it too much fertilizer, you are going to burn the roots, and if the roots don't have the ability to continue to spread and pull up the nutrients as well as the water, they're going to be stunted. The leaves will begin to curl. You will see that they're going to start turning yellow or probably brown in color, and it's just not going to be a good thing. You don't want to experience that. Trust me, I've been there. You don't want to experience that. Just half it and probably half it again, and make sure that you give it a good fertilizer at least once a week. Once a week is good enough. Don't overdo it. Don't overfeed it. Don't overlove it. Like my family would tell me about my plants. You're overloving your plants. I can't help it. Don't overlove them. You don't want to overlove them to the point that they no longer thrive and begin to produce what you want for you and for your family. So here we have the pepper. Let's just start here. So you can see I have these sets of true leaves. I'm just going to snip it off. Literally just snip it off. That's it. That is all you are doing. You're just taking the topmost part of the plant and you're snipping it off so that you can get more lateral growth, so that the plant doesn't keep growing upward and it grows laterally. Make sure whatever you snip off, you want to leave at least 2 sets of true leaves. right? I hope this video has helped you, friend. The best way that you can continue to help this channel is to share us on your social media. Also hit the subscribe button, comment down below, hit the like button as well. And until next time, may the earth yield its increase in your life and in your garden. God bless you. Bye.